What's going on, guys? Dom The Commish here, and the NFL draft is getting closer, and that also means that reactivating slash creating your fantasy leagues is getting even closer as we go on day to day. So today, I'm going to give you a full rundown. I'm going to be creating a league from scratch, and I'm going to show you, exactly how I do it. I mean, this channel is called Dom The Commish. What I wanted to do on this channel is make a lot of commissioner content, stuff to help out commissioners in tight situations, trying to make you guys the best you can be. So we're going to go and get that started. I'm going to do this on ESPN. I'm going to do one on Sleeper 2, most likely. I'm going to do one for Dynasty. I'm going to do one for redraft. I'll talk about I'm going to talk about all the different kinds of leagues and just go through everything. So if you guys like these commissioner videos, please leave a like on this video and subscribe. I'm here to give you all the best advice for your commissioners and your leagues. So yeah, let's create a new redraft league. So we're gonna name the league. We're gonna name it the Dom the Commish League. And we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, up to 20 teams in this league. We're going to go 10. It's kind of the median level. I know a lot of people normally do 12. My leagues are 10. And then for scoring, PPR, no PPR. I think you just... I'm a PPR person just because, a couple more points, receivers don't get the ball as much as running backs do, so it kind of balances it out a little bit because, the best receivers average, I think Saquon was at about 24 points a game, and the best receivers were at 24 points a game. I think it makes it a little bit more fair. The best running back seasons, they can get over 2,000 yards. Receivers usually the really good receiver seasons usually get around 1,800, a little less. Just makes things a lot more fair. Plus, running backs get the PPR at the end. So honestly, if I'm a commissioner, I'm using points per reception or half PPR. No PPR, maybe standard scoring too. That's also not bad. So we're going to create this league, 10 people. So creating a league, now we can invite friends. We'll just copy the invite link later. So yeah, now we are officially in our league. And the first thing we're going to want to do is I'd recommend doing this on a computer because on the computer, you get the league manager tools, which is something that you don't really get anywhere on your phone or on your iPads. I'd really recommend doing this. And we're going to go through each of these 6 columns and, do everything that we need to do. So edit managers and send invitations. So this is just where you can also change the numbers of teams if you decide to add a couple more. But beware, you usually can't move down a lot. I think you might be able to, but usually you can't really move down. You can also make the league viewable to public. But overall, edit managers and send invitations. It's just copying the link, sending it to people, and all that jazz, right? Add teams, delete teams, kind of the same thing over here. So adding teams is just you don't have any teams yet, so I guess it just doesn't really. Those don't really do anything. Not gonna need to use it anything. Assign league manager powers. This is really good if you want an assistant league manager. You'll have all of your people down here. You can assign them league manager powers. If you want an assistant, that's really good. I usually have one for my leagues. Usually one other person, especially because if conflicts involve you, you'll have someone else to be okay, this is what should happen here, because people might call you biased. But it's just really good for the overall overall happiness of the league. Draft tools, edit draft settings. So here is what we're gonna do. So the draft type, you should be doing snake. There's not really. You shouldn't be doing any other drafts besides a snake draft for fantasy football. Salary cap, don't really like it. Auto pick. If you're in a big league, offline, it does work. But if you're just doing a normal 10-team person league, you're going to be doing snake draft and setting your draft date. Overall, I believe that the draft date should be around 2 to 3 weeks before the draft. But if you are, in my age, I'm at college right now, and so most of my friends are leaving around the time of August 15th to 19th. So a lot of times I like doing the Saturday before. So honestly, the 9th or the 16th might be working to be drafting. Usually like to do it around in the evening because I also like to bring everybody over to my place and um, just sit down. Everyone works the computers, has a good time drafting, and it's always a lot of fun. Draft order manually set by league manager. Allow draft pick trading. We tried this one year. Really wasn't amazing, and overall, like I just didn't like it as much. It felt kind of weird to have draft pick trading. So honestly, if you're in a dynasty league, definitely turn it on. Draft pick trading in a dynasty league is really fun, but draft pick trading in a redraft league, I wouldn't do it personally. At a draft order, so we'll talk about exactly how we're gonna get the draft order. I don't think that unless it's a really really casual league, you shouldn't be come on. We're not having fun here. Come on. I guess we'll wait for this to happen. If you are in a casual league, you can kind of do random ones. But if you're in a league with your buddies, you're all close to each other, overall, I think that you should be doing manual draft order or some sort of competition, combine. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, yeah, setting the draft order. ESPN just does not want to work right now. Okay, here we go. Okay. Add a draft order. Are we doing this again? Perfect. Here we go. So, add a draft order. Pretty simple. Just move people around until you get the order you want. You can even randomize it if you want. But honestly, set your order beforehand. It makes the life a lot easier for the other managers of the team. Especially like you don't want to have to randomly come in. Be able to. A lot of people don't have the time to practice every single draft position. If they can just like a day before be like, all right, who do I want to draft this year at my position? Who am I in line to get? Then they can just do that if they want, So the next thing that we're going to be doing as soon as ESPN loads, man, this is all right. League scoring and settings tools. So this is probably the most important one besides maybe like the roster ones. So here we go. It kind of also really shows everything in this league settings to the draft, roster size, total starters. So here's where if you want to change your starters or add double flex or super flex, this is where you'll be doing it. Maximums, I like to keep the maximums that ESPN does, although if I am doing Superflex, I will change these to 9. So not Superflex, if we're doing a double flex right here. So overall, I think that if you're doing fantasy, the only ones you don't need a team quarterback. That's just, I don't really like it. Running back / wide receiver, no. Wide receiver / tight end, no. You might as well just use a flex. Offensive player utility, don't really know about that one. And then obviously all the defensive players. If you want to play with a defensive player, you can go for it. But I'd recommend just playing with offensive players. Defensive players, I tried making them a little bit. It's the issue is the defensive players are so volatile. And when you have team defense and place kickers, there's really no point. But if you do double flex, I usually do 1 double flex plus 1 bench. If you do super flex, you can just do 2 quarterbacks. I don't actually think offensive player utility, I guess that is also a super flex because you can have a quarterback in there. So offensive player utility, I guess, is your super flex option. So here's 1 flex, here's super flex, and then 8 benches, 1 IR. I usually like to do 2 just because you have so many people on injured, they get injured in your football season. And if you have to choose between putting like Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson on IR, and they're both going to come back this season, it's not the most fun thing in the world to do. So, scoring. I actually really like ESPN scoring. I think mostly it's pretty good. I don't really change anything. Overall, I really do like it. Yeah, honestly, I don't change anything in scoring wise. I mean, you can as well. If you are to change it, you could do your 40-yard, 50-yard touchdown passing bonus. So this is just, or also big passing games. So like you also have rushing games as well, like 100, 199. So basically, if a receiver or a quarterback or a running back gets over a certain stat, they get extra points for it. Which I don't really like to do that. I know a lot of people do like to do that, but if you were to do that, I'd make it probably for a 100-yard game, I'd give it plus maybe like 2 or 3, and for a 200-yard game, I'd give you another 3, maybe like 3 per. I don't really know. I don't usually use those. I think that it should just be, straight up how many yards you get, besides and receptions. Overall, you could also play with kick and punt return yards. I don't. It just makes receivers that aren't as good, I guess. And defense special teams, I'd leave this completely alone. I think that is really complicated, and I don't usually like to get into this. So we're going to cancel those changes. Teams and divisions. So usually for a 10-person league, a lot of people like to make 10 teams. Honestly, I like 2 divisions. Where is it? Oh, yeah, well, I guess, East? Yeah, here we go. So, I like having two divisions just because it just makes it a little bit more fun, and they don't really do anything. But, yeah, it just makes it kind of more competition-like. Most likely, you're going to have at least one person coming out of each division, so it makes it fair. You could even name your division something funny, like, I don't know, like maybe, what do we got? Tush Push Merchants for Eagles fans, and maybe like, I don't know, It's Our Year for like some Cowboy fans. You could do something funny with that. Overall, yeah. Transactions and keepers. Oh no, we did say that, right? Yeah. So over here, observed ESPN's undroppable players list. So basically what that means is that ESPN has a complete list of players that you can't drop. It's got guys like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen. I think it might be the top 5 players at each position, or maybe top 10. I don't remember. It's just players who they deem that you're not allowed to drop. Just because, like, if people get mad and they decide to drop players, well, that's a whole other topic for a whole other video. But if people just get mad and start dropping players, they can't drop their best ones. Player universe, NFL. I don't know. I mean, what? Oh yeah, AFC or NFC. Just do NFL. It makes life so much easier. All right. Lineup changes. Lock individually at scheduled game times. Lock at first game of the week. I think you really should just keep it at lock individually at scheduled game time. If you lock it at the first game of the week, it locks Thursday, and all your questionable players, you'll either have to take a risk on them starting or bench them. I think that it just makes complications that you shouldn't have to deal with. Keep lineup changes the same. Player acquisition systems. So this is interesting. So there's 4 different types. No waivers. So waivers is basically, it basically makes picking up players more fair. So no waivers is just you can pick up any players you want. So at any time. So if I want, I don't know, if I want Jalen Hyatt off free agency, I can just pick him up. Or if I want, or if someone drops, it's basically just like an all hell breaks loose for them. Now waivers basically counteracts this by saying, all right, here, at the beginning of this week, here's the order in which you guys will get to choose your players. And at this time, we're going to go through the order. So basically, let's say Team 1, you have the first pick, and you want Juwan Jennings. You could pick up Juwan Jennings. Then they go to the second one. All right, you want Ravens defense? You can go pick up Ravens defense. And it goes all the way forwards and then back. And basically, so if the first player wants to pick up Juwan Jennings, Isaiah Likely, and I don't know, Bills defense, then they'd have to wait for it all to come around, and hopefully no one takes him. So your first waiver is automatically pretty much on your team if you're the first pick, and then you have to wait. Let's say the guy at 5 picks Isaiah Likely, then you can't get him. It moves on to your next one. So there's basically a tier list of people that you want. You could choose priority waivers. Overall, I feel like it's the best way to do it. And we'll talk about like the ways, the waiver order if you're going to be doing that. The next thing is free agent budget continuous. Now, so what free agent budgeting is basically free agents have, you start out with a certain amount of money, so $100 in this case, and basically you're going to have to bid on players that you want. So if Juwan Jennings is sitting in free agency and I bid $10, but my friend bids $15, then he spends his $15 and gets the player. If you bid $10 and you lose, you get that $10 back. You can bet $100 on a player, but then you got to remember that you're not going to be able to pick anyone off of waivers again. So after, I think, a certain amount of time, you should be able to pick up players after a certain time. Yeah, that's free agent budget. So free agent budget continuous means that you have a specific budget, and as soon as you're out of your money, you can't add any more. So there's no, it's daily waivers and you can't pick anybody up. But free agent budget means that your waiver period, after your waiver period, you can pick up players for nothing after the waivers. So basically it gives teams a chance to get good players, and then afterwards they could pick up all the other scraps that they need. But once again, I think that waivers is the best option for redraft. We did free agent bidding in our Dynasty League. That worked actually really well. And the waiver order, I usually use reset each week to inverse order of standings. I think it makes it fair. I think that the worst teams should have a chance to get the best players off waivers. It really shows a lot of strategies as well, because if you get out too fast, then you miss out on all the good waiver players, and then the teams at the back of the party can really... Because I think that in free age, if you draft badly, it should not end your season. I had my one friend, he drafted Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, and Travis Etienne with his first 3 picks. Not good, but he made a lot of good moves. I actually traded Devontae Adams for him, and it was a deal that included Chuba Hubbard. So his team at the end of the year ended up having Chuba Hubbard. He picked up Juwan Jennings too off of waivers, and his team was actually like pretty decent come at the end. Khalil Shakir as well. Despite drafting badly, and he was bad in the beginning, he really went and made it better. Trade rules. You shouldn't have a limit on trades. People should be able to make as many trades as they want. My league makes so many trades. It's not even funny. Trade deadline. Honestly, November 26th. It's a really good trade deadline this should be about at week 12 or 13, right before the playoffs. Maybe you go 1 week earlier to prevent tanking teams from trading away their best players. Trade review period. I like doing 1 day. Gets shit done. And votes required to veto or trade. 4, I like keeping all the trade rules just the same right here. And then keepers. If you use keepers, it's kind of like Dynasty in where you keep your players. However, you do not keep all of them. So if I used keepers for this season, I would be able to set the amount of players that you'll be able to keep per season. So if I set it to 2 and I draft, my team at the end of the year is like Josh Allen, David Montgomery, Devon Achane. I can be like, all right, I want to take Josh Allen and Devon Achane for my team next year. And you start with those guys, but everybody else gets to start with their guys too. So most likely, the round 1, pick 1 is not as valuable, but still valuable because you can get some really good players. Because especially if a team on it has Josh Allen, Devon Achane, Justin Jefferson, and Malik Neighbors, they have to get rid of 2 of those 4 guys. So overall, if you want to play with keepers, it's fun. I normally don't, just so that every year is different and you have a chance of getting new players each year. But overall, I think that the transactions of keepers on ESPN is actually really good, so I would keep it. And then schedules. If you want to create your own custom schedules, I'll probably tell you about that in a different video. For playoffs, for a 10-person league, I like going top 4. For a 12-person league, I like going top 6, with 1 and 2 getting a bye. But overall, I think that even if you have 6, or 10 people, going with a 16 playoff is not terrible. I do recommend 1-week matchups per, though. I really don't like doing 2-week matchups, especially for 16 playoffs, because if we do 2, 2, and 2, that's 6 weeks, and it's basically, if you're going to have your week 17, your playoffs start in week 11, which I don't really like because they're still bye weeks. Let's see, what else do we have? We'll continue without saving. What else do we have? Miscellaneous tools. Create and edit league manager poll. It's not terrible. Head-to-head schedule. Overall, these are all the league manager tools that you're going to need for your team. Overall, you don't really touch anything unless you take a vote out with your league. I use Google Forms and I send it in the group chat. I'm like, hey guys, I need you guys to vote on something. I've been talking about it. People came up to me, said that we want to get this done, and yeah, here's a vote. And if it votes, pass it, change it. If it doesn't vote, leave it. Or if it ties, I honestly leave it too. Just because, if it ties, it's kind of like, we're kind of 50-50, might as well just keep it the way we were before because it was good anyway. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on, just setting up your fantasy league and getting it all ready. Once again, please like and subscribe for this video, and I'll put out more commissioner videos, more tips. The next one will be setting up a dynasty league for the first time, and I guess we'll go over rookie drafts too. But yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day.